Please, because we are still short a quorum. So if you haven't signed in, please do so.
Hey, Renee, are you a member? We'll sign you in.
Member.
Okay, we'll sign you in too.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, they're trying to make sure we have a quorum. Nancy, if they're in my prayer.
Really one of these I did, okay. People brought really nice things this time.
Good morning, everyone. I know we're kind of getting settled. I believe we do have enough chairs for everyone. If not, raise your hand if you still need a chair.
Person or two.
Two.
I'm Nancy Halverson. I am the current president of the League of Women Voters of Clark County for a few more hours. I'd like to call the annual meeting to order. And Sarah, if you would give us a statement of quorum.
Statement of quorum is we have 41 attendees, so we're good to go.
Okay, terrific. And we need to adopt the rules, which were listed in the voter. They're on the website. And the adoption of rules, Robert's Rules of Order, and league rules. And so may I have a motion from the floor to adopt the rules? May I have a second? Joe Waddell, the motion was made by Judy Stanton, seconded by Joe Waddell. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. And the adoption of the agenda. This also was in the voter and is on the website. Those are the rules.
Yeah,
All right, may I have a motion to adopt the agenda? Judy Zeider, second. Marlene Niemeyer, and all those in favor? All those opposed? Okay, the agenda is adopted. And Marlene is going to state our nonpartisan policy.
The purpose of this policy helps protect the credibility of the League of Women Voters of Clark County as an organization that is genuinely nonpartisan with regard to political parties and candidates. The choice made in 1920 to neither support nor oppose any political party or candidate for public office continues today to ensure that the League's voice is heard above the tumult of party politics. This nonpartisan policy has added strength to the League's positions on the issues and has made possible wide acceptance of the League, voter service, and other educational activities. At the same time, the League is a political organization that encourages members to participate fully in the political party of their choice. It is an advantage to the League to have politically active members, and equally important, it can be a personally satisfying experience.
Thank you, Marlene. There are a few things. There are a few people that need to be thanked in the very beginning. Susan Fleming and your team for organizing our we know food or what? No. It's quite a chore to put all the details together for an annual meeting, and the communications team led by Sally Hale, who this month, yeah, she deserves an extra round of applause because she's had a little bit of a challenge. So Sally Hale and Brenda Lilge, thank you so much for putting us all together. And we would be nowhere without John Latta. Oh, thank you very much. I want to recognize any of our previous League presidents in the audience, and I know that Judy Stanton is here, so if you will stand, Judy. Any other past presidents? Okay, thank you. And I will now turn this over to Teresa Torres. Teresa is our Civics and Voter Services Chair, and very, very active.
And you're not going to listen to me. I'm here to introduce Jennifer Gilchop, and I had it on my phone, and of course it's gone away. Last year we had Jennifer come and speak to us about the library district. Jennifer Gilchop is the executive director of the Fort Vancouver Regional Library District, and she gave us a snapshot last year. But this year she had something really important to talk to us about, so I'm just going to let her start. Listen to her. She's going to.
Thank you, Teresa. It's been, hi everyone online. How many people are online? Just two? Two important people. So I'm sorry about my back. I'm glad to be back here. It's been about 15 months. I survived my first year at FVRL Library. So then this year's even tougher, but we'll talk about that later. So it's great to see so many friendly faces in the audience. Who was here last year when I came? Yeah. So I'm going to tell you different information this year because you would remember everything last year, right? Okay. So can we start from the very beginning? So FVRL Libraries, second page, please. Oh, yeah.
I know I can do this.
Yeah. It's touchy. It's okay. It's a Saturday morning. I had my coffee. Everybody had their coffee this morning? Okay. So who are we? Well, who remembers going to the library on July 1st, 1950? Really? Well, I have been making my way around our district and I've had many people share stories and remembering when the district was formed, and many of them are on our Friends of the Library group still. So it's pretty incredible. July 1st, 1950 is when the library district was formed. Oh, I'm supposed to stand over here because of that sound. Can you hear me okay? Great. So for 75 years, we've had quite a legacy within Southwest Washington, and we've grown today to be serving in 4 counties. All of Clark County, except for the city of Camas, Skamania County, Klickitat County, and the city of Woodland and Cowlitz County. Plus, the Yale Valley Library District in Cowlitz County does contract with us for service. So they own the building and we provide everything inside the building up there. Anybody been up to Yale Valley? It's pretty cool, isn't it? It took them 20 years to build that building, so they're very proud of it. So we also have 2 bookmobiles in Klickitat and Skamania County. We have an operations center over in the old navigation center, or it's been like 3 other things before that on Grand Boulevard, and that's where all our support services are for the district. And then we have 7 board members. Those are my bosses. They are appointed by the areas they serve, 2 for the city of Vancouver, 3 for Clark County, 1 for Skamania, and 1 for Klickitat counties. They serve 7-year terms and can serve up to 2 terms. So what are you doing for the next 14 years? They're volunteer positions. Once they are appointed, there is no other oversight from those appointing agencies. We are an independent junior taxing district under RCW 27.12. All of that is to say, we serve over 550,000 people across 4,200 square miles with 257 amazing and dedicated staff. 75 years we're going to cover. We're going to cover our connections to the community, how we're going to shape our future together, the Levy Live Lift, and why strong libraries matter to communities. So a place for all, that is certainly us. I was so thrilled to see the Columbian editorial staff put something in the paper earlier this week about libraries and the importance of libraries. Did everybody see that? Good, that was great. I was like, that made my day. It made my week, it made my month. And so, next page. So some people say, well, libraries, who goes to the library anymore, right? You go to the library? Oh, great. You go? Oh, you got good. That's amazing. Well, guess what? I'm going to start at the bottom. 1.37 million people walked into our buildings last year. That's enough to fill and sell out the Portland Trailblazers 66 times. A lot of people. Yeah, and even more than that, 1.89 million people visited our digital library, which is 24/7. Anybody go to that digital branch? Anybody know what the URL is by memorization? It's really easy. FVRL.org. So easy, right? And 99,000 people attended library programs. That's a lot. It's so much that it's all the residents of Woodland, Ridgefield, and La Center going to programs 3 times during the year. It's a lot of people that are attending our programs. We issued 32,000 new cards, and I didn't say this earlier, so I'll say it now. 32,000 new library cards. It's quite a lot. We've had 100,000 new people move to our district in the last 15 years. It's a lot of new people. They don't remember what a levy lid lift is and how the library is funded. So there's a lot of education that has to be done. And 450,000 Wi-Fi sessions, people using our Wi-Fi at the library. Not everybody has Wi-Fi at home or internet connections, and the library continues to be that place to level the playing field for digital access. So there's so much that the library does for the communities and with the communities. We are here to serve all of you. It is your library. But obviously, it starts with our youngest, with early literacy. It's one of the most important things we do is to have story times, to create that love of reading, to help really learn about reading before you can read. There's things like print awareness. Do you know if a child's never picked up a book before, they might pick it up. Here's a book, kind of. It's a booklet, right? They might pick it up like this. They don't understand yet how to hold the book. What's the right way? What's the right orientation for that? So there's a lot of things that are taught during story times that are about the fundamental blocks of early literacy. And we're trying to prepare both the children, but the parents and caregivers to understand the importance of reading. It's also important just when you go to the grocery store with your child, that you're saying all the words. So here's a cucumber, here's an orange, whatever it is, all those words add to the vocabulary. Kids that are read to usually hear 1 million more words before kindergarten than kids that are not. So it's a very important part. You know that. And then life stages. So kids go to school. We obviously support curriculums. And today, across our region, many schools don't have libraries or librarians. So we are filling that gap as well. We have something called a Connect card with several of our schools that allows the schools to have access directly into some of our research databases so that we're sharing those resources. People grow up, they get out of high school, they go to college, or they're learning a trade, and they can engage in the library from having remote work, from having access to workforce development skills, to having connections to the community, learning about what's going on in their community. And then as we go on, as we age, we sometimes have more time in life, although I don't think any of you do, but some people have more time in life and they look for that social connection. Social connection to each other. And so the library is that place, and just the recreational reading, etc., the programs that are attended. If any of you want to be a friend of your library, they're always looking for new friends. Our Friends of the Library provide substantial advocacy and financial support to enhance our services, and they're awesome. I love them very much. So we leverage the playing field, and then we have great partners like you. You've done a lot of amazing programs with us, etc. And we are so aligned in wanting everyone to have the right information they need to make the best decisions in their life. So on your table, I gave you a lot of things this morning. But first I'm going to talk about is celebrating our 75 years as this passport. Did anybody already have one of these? Oh, a couple of you, early adopters. Well, people are so excited. These are flying off the shelves. What this is really to re-engage and rediscover your Fort Vancouver regional libraries throughout the district, to take a road trip and visit all of them. And while you're there, there's highlights in each of the communities of things you can do while you're there. And you can get a stamp from each of the libraries that you visit. And if you complete it all, by the end of the year, you can turn this in and you can get a mystery prize. It's so mysterious, they haven't even told me what it is yet. But it's a really cool thing, and a lot of groups are doing road trips together, again, building community and camaraderie along the way. I've also given you a bookmark because, well, we like to read, right? So this celebrates 75 years, but on the back, it reminds us all that we're on the ballot on August 5th. And if you have a pocket on your shirt, if you put it like this, you can see that information at the top. It's a pro tip. You know, you're informing as you walk around wherever. So it's a bookmark and so much more. And then the next thing is our news and events. And this is comes out every other month now. It highlights a lot of our programs going on around the district, but on the second page in, it's a 2-page spread about the levy lid lift. So some of what I'll be covering today is in that book as well. So we started in 1950, and there's so much that's happened between 1950 and today, but I'll just highlight for this group. In 1970, we eliminated overdue fines. That was 30+ years more than most libraries in the country. And that really eliminates barriers to access. We still charge people when their dog eats their book or you run over it with the car or those kinds of things. But overdue fines have been eliminated for so many years. This year, we're charting a new course together with a strategic planning process and a master facilities plan. So our strategic planning process will identify our priorities for the next 5 years, and the facilities master planning process will help us path a future over the next 10 years. Both of which are updating old plans that are outdated. And these will be deep public engagement processes. There will be community forums, there will be online surveys and other ways that you can get involved to help us shape the next chapter of the library. And that's what this was all about. I guess I got ahead of myself, but really your voice matters. We want to hear from you. It's your library. What do you want for your libraries in Southwest Washington? So we're at this convergence zone, this time where we're celebrating our legacy of 75 years and our partnership with community and serving the communities we're in. We're also developing our priorities for our future through the planning processes, and we're looking to stabilize our financial future through a levy lid lift. The way that libraries are funded for district libraries such as us are through property taxes. That is the primary source of funding. Unlike cities or counties or other taxing jurisdictions, we don't have any other way to bring revenue in. Yes, we do get people that chew their books and run over their books, and we collect those. But 96% of our funding comes through property taxes. So 96%. Without that, we don't survive. So the stable base is kind of hidden up there at the top, but that is our property taxes. That's how we're funded. And yet there's rising needs. So we haven't asked for a levy lid lift in 15 years. That's a long time. Typically, agencies go 5 to 7 years. So 15 years has stretched it out. There's a lot of reasons for that, a lot of transitions that have happened. The pandemic occurred, those kinds of things. But do you know inflation's gone up 43% since we asked for the last levy lid lift? Now levies are somewhat, and the tax laws are somewhat complicated. So I'm going to try to simplify it. And if you feel like I didn't do a good job and you still have questions, we could have a whole session on taxes. Okay. Or you could go to mrsc.org, everything you'd ever want to know about taxes. So in our state, we as a local governmental unit are capped at a 1% growth per year to taxable assessed values. So if you were taxed at $10 this year, what would your tax be next year?
11, no.
Say it louder. Take pride in that math. $11. Okay. Plus new construction. So we all know there's been a lot of growth in the counties, and that's why that has helped us sustain a little bit longer of a period. But in the last 2 to 3 years, our revenues have gone up 2 to 3%, and our expenses are going up 4 to 5%. That math does not work in the long run. Here you see, and it's hard to see, I apologize, but the gold line is our revenue, the black our expenses, and the gray our reserves. It starts in 2011, which was the first year of our levy lid lift last time, when we restored our funding back to 50 cents per $1,000 of taxable assessed value. 50 cents is the statutory limit for libraries in our state. And so that restoration was made in the early part of a levy lid lift. You will have more revenue than expenses, and you're putting that difference into the bank or into your reserves because you'll have to pull on that in the later period. That's how the design of the system works. We had done fairly well and, oh, keep going
Oh,
back.
sorry.
I'm sorry. I'll go faster.
I
John?
misread your.
Okay.
your hand.
You see that then the revenues and the expenses kind of dovetail each other, and then at the end, you see this gap. This year, we're operating in a deficit of $4.7 million. And that's coming out of our reserves in order to sustain our current level of services, meaning we didn't reduce hours or lay people off. We're just drawing from our bank account to pay for that. Well, next year, that's a problem because then we have a $7.6 million estimated deficit. And if we pull that out of the bank, we will not be able to pay our bills on time because we only get paid twice a year, April and October. And while I've asked staff if I could just pay them twice a year, that's what they do. No, that's not gonna work, and our vendors say they need to be paid when they need to be paid too. So in order to have enough money throughout the year, we have to pull from our bank account in between those two tax receiving times and pay bills. So we have to keep a healthy fund balance of 60 to 90% of our operating revenues. Thank you. So what are we asking? We're asking to restore our levy rate back to 50 cents per $1,000 of assessed value. Today, it's at just under 27 cents. So it's fallen that low because as taxable assessed values go up, levy rates go down in order to cap that 1% growth. So that's why it's fallen so much, and we're asking to restore the levy rate. So it's a restoration of the rate, but it does mean new taxes. So if you are in a $400,000 house, and that is the average home value across our district in 2024, what that means to you is about $200 a year going towards library services. Or $16.67 a month. So with that, that is an increase of, I believe it's just over $7 a month that we're asking. What can you do for $7 a month? Starbucks? Well, maybe. Depends how foo-foo you get, right? Yeah. I just got one this morning. It was 5 something, but mine wasn't too foo-foo. It was like all caffeine. Yeah, I mean, you understand that. And the other thing that we're looking at on our website, ferl.org/levy, is all the information you want to know about the levy, more than what we can put into any printed guide. And one of the things that's there is, what can you do for $16.67? And also, how much value do you get out of your library? Who reads a lot here and checks out a lot of books? Oh my goodness. Well, I was talking with a board member of mine the other day. We were just talking about reading. And I said, you know, did you see this calculator on our website to show your value? And she's like, no. I said, well, let's do it together. So how many books do you read? And she's, 4, and I'm thinking 4 a month. So I'm doing 4 a month. No, she's like 4 a week. I'm like, oh my gosh, I thought you were working still. Okay. 4 a week. So it ended up being just for those books that she reads, that's nothing else happening at the library, over $5,000 in value. And I said, well, guess what? You could have over a $2 million house and still not be paying enough taxes to support your reading habit. So I think it's really important to go ahead and see what kind of value you're getting from your library, as well as knowing how much you're paying in taxes. And if you don't know, because a lot of us have our tax statements escrowed, and so we don't see them, you can do a property search from Clark County and find out how much you're paying. And the other thing, when you look at those tax bills, what I want you to look at is how much goes to the library. So if you take the whole pie chart of where your taxes are going, and you think about the library serves everyone, cradle to grave, all walks of life. We showed you some of the numbers of people using it. We in Clark County are around 3% of your tax dollars.
Yeah.
It's more than mosquito control. But the point is, it's something that is for everyone, and the impact for our communities is so great. It lifts all boats. We are neutral in our approach, much like you. We come in every day, we're individuals, we have personal values and opinions and all that. And to the best of our ability, we leave those at the door, and we're there to serve you with what your needs are and connect you to any and all resources that we can. So what happens if the levy passes? And I'm sorry that's cutting off at the top, but it's really a vote yes. This is what a vote yes would mean. We would sustain our current level of services, and we would add 13% more hours district-wide. That's 91 more hours per week district-wide. Where those hours will be informed by our strategic planning process that we'll be engaging in. In order to open those hours, we need more staff to do that, because it's the wonderful staff that bring the library to life and open the doors that allow us to have those open hours. We will continue our investment of 12% of our budget going into our collections. That's both our physical and our electronic collections. So that's about a $450,000 increase. We would have more programs and outreach activities because we would have more staff and more open hours. We would continue our investment into technology upgrades and our spaces, our public spaces, to continue to have them welcoming and safe for all. We would open a new Washougal Community Library in 2027 after 30 years of talking about it. And I have really great news on that front. We received word that in the state budget, in the capital appropriation budget for next year, is $2.218 million towards this project. So our gap has now closed on that project, which is an $11 million project, down to $3.6 million. So if the levy passes, we will be able to move forward. We will continue, the foundation and the Friends will continue fundraising and looking at alternative sources for that gap, but we would be able to move forward. We also believe we would open a new library in 2030. And again, I don't know where. My guess is when you follow the growth and where libraries are and where they are not, you would be looking at central to northeast Clark County. And so we'll see. That's again, the master facilities planning process will help identify that. And then we would add a Clark County bookmobile. Anybody remember when we had one in Clark County? Okay, a couple of you, great. Teresa, did you ever drive it? Oh, you rode in it once. Well, I actually want to drive it. I want to be the bookmobile driver. I think it's like a great job. What we're seeing is this is a way to quickly get out to some of these areas that are truly underserved in our district, as well as going to schools, as well as going to senior centers and other places where we can connect. We have a growing senior population and being able to serve them well as all the fun things, parades and festivals, etc. So that would be great. I like that slide. That slide's a great slide. It allows a thriving library for Southwest Washington. However, if the voters decide no, we don't want this, this is what will happen. A 30% cut in open hours across the district. That's 207 hours lost each week across the district. And that means laying off 68 full-time equivalents. That is pieces of positions, part-time positions and full-time adding up. I should have said this on the green slide, but I'll say it here. When we talk about these staff positions, on the green side, the ad is all branch library staff. There's no behind the scenes staff being added. It's all for our branches because of open hours. Here, in contrast, is mostly our branch staff, but also some support service functions as well. We would reduce our programs and outreach because we have fewer hours and staff. We would have to reduce funding for technology and equipment updates. We would close the Vancouver Mall Library in 2028 when the lease is up. It's a very expensive commercial lease. However, it's a building that we've been in for 40 years. We were the first mall library in the country. It still is a place where people discover the library when they move here. They don't think they're gonna see a library there, but then they're like, oh, a library, I should get a card. So it's still one of the places we actually issue one of our highest cards percentages at. There would be no new library. So what that means for Washougal is while we have all this funding set aside now, there still is a gap. And unless that gap is filled by one of you, you can have your name on the building, by the way, or grants or other fundraising, it would just sit there and continue to wait until there was money. There would be no more district money going towards that project. And no new bookmobiles. And then if we did not pass the levy before 2029, we would have to take another 25% in cuts. So at that point, you're 50% cut, over 50% in cuts. We would be talking about building closures then. So did you all know you have to pay to be on the ballot? I'm glad you know that. So we have budgeted $500,000 this year to be on the ballot in August because those were the estimates we received from the 4 counties. But then when the filing date just was finalized, we got a call from Clark County that said, you're the only issue on the ballot besides people running. Your bill's gonna be about $700,000 in Clark County. And so we said, we better call all the other counties. And so now our estimate for August is $833,000. So there's a lot at stake. You have a question? There's a lot of considerations to going into when. You have to go to the voters within a year of when you'll collect the new tax. You also, from a budgeting standpoint, we have a January beginning budget year. We have to have hearings on our levy rate and pass our budget in November, December. And so it would have been more administratively difficult to get into 2026 and get the right rates in place. We might have had to wait till 27 for the money. And also, we went in August last time in 2010. We thought there would be more on the ballot, and so did the counties. That's why the rates they gave us were lower. You never know. So unfortunately, that is the amount. And why I bring that up is in future years, if it doesn't pass, we have to continue to budget to be on the ballot. And the rate changes. We'll never be on in the spring because we can't afford that. Like if we were the only thing on the ballot in Clark County alone, it's $1 million. So we've asked for more information from a transparency standpoint of why it costs so much, and we're getting that. But you know, it's just the fact. Yes.
Is the tax rate for businesses the same as it is for residential property?
All property for us is 50 cents. What we're asking is 50 cents per $1,000 of taxable assessed value. I didn't hear you, Judy. Oh, repeat the question. Sure. Thank you. She asked if business property was the same as home property. And I said, yes, it's the same. Next slide. So we've already kind of covered this. I won't go into it too much more, but basically everything gets reduced if the levy doesn't pass, and that affects everyone across the district. And then if it passes, it also affects everyone across the district. We'll continue to sustain services and do more. And, you know, this is one place I'm coming to talk to. We're trying to talk with groups all over our region. And we thank you for having us on Citizen 411. That'll be coming up. That was really fun. But I think that getting the word out is important. If you hadn't been here 15 years ago, you don't understand anything about how the library is funded. A lot of people think we are part of some other government or some other resource. And you know, we have spent so much of our lives as library staff saying, it's free to use the library. Well, no, it's not free. It costs tax dollars. That's how we're funded. So once you pay that, yes, it's free. Everything, come on and use all of it, you know, millions and millions of resources that we could go into. And, you know, you're kind of, the choir. I call all our supporters and people that use libraries our choir. So we need you to help us get the word out there and spread the message. And if there are places that you would like people to hear this message, groups like yourselves, if you get in touch with us at levy@fvrl.org, we will respond to those messages and try and get everyone on the calendar. We have well over 100 outreach events this year, this summer, trying to reach people on all sorts of topics, including all the wonderful things we're doing like summer reading and the passport program. And we also have a library design contest right now. So any artist in the room, why don't you design a library card? It's pretty cool. So the question is there a reason that the library doesn't collect fines? This is really disturbing. I want to be closer to you and they're putting me in a box back here. Kind of like being online. Yeah, okay. Yes, today, so I said 30 years ago, we were among the first, but today there is almost no libraries today that collect fines, and that is about eliminating barriers to access. So that people, because people would say, oh, I didn't bring my book back on time. Well, there were still like, the most you were gonna have to pay was like $5 in most cases, but people would never return to the library out of fear of what that bill was going to be. And so that's really what it's about, again, equalizing the playing field as much as we can. So what the district is going to do is provide factual information. We can not tell people how to vote. We can provide factual information, and we're going to do that in lots of different ways. Through our website, through printed materials, both in our library buildings and out in the community, through purchased ads in media, through social media, etc. We, as a district, will not have yard signs, but I assume there will be a campaign that does.
Yeah, I just missed it, but what is, say it's gonna be on the August ballot? It's gonna be on the primary ballot, or is it separate? So it's the time to say we should be doing your primary ballot and it also supports the library. I just wanted to be clarified.
So the question is, I heard you're going to be on the August ballot. Is that the primary ballot? And yes, it is. August 5th, 2025 is the primary ballot. Why we thought there would be lots of other things at the same time, but there's not this year. And yes, we'd like everyone to do their civic duty and vote, but the rates have been pretty dismal. So let's get people out to vote.
Volunteer museum, which is the place of the night. So the library was originally established in town in 1909 at Carnegie Library. I do understand you've got a free district in 1950, but during the celebration, are you also going to note that we have had a library in our community for a long time?
We're mostly celebrating the 75th anniversary of the district, but we do in our materials online and in some of our history programs we've done this year, certainly note, during Women's History Month, did anybody go to any of our Women's History Month programming? Did you? Did you hear about how long libraries and how they came to be? Great. So, yes. So, yes, many women's groups that started libraries across the region, we celebrated them in March. But yes, the 75th anniversary is really celebrating the district, and Part of that is helping people understand how we're formed, how we're funded, and kind of leads itself to that next question of funding and levy lid lift. So there's a connection there.
This is a question that could come to voters. At a recent council meeting, they were talking about increasing levy taxes for law enforcement. Because we're one of the lowest states in the country for law enforcement. So that's one thing that I'm sure could come up. Then the next thing is that the Dadler timber sale, which was our legacy forest, was approved by the Department of Natural Resources in December. And then it went to auction in January when Hillary Franz was our lands commissioner, because she approved cutting our legacy forests, our older trees. Dadler is 148 acres here in Clark County. And the county council sent letters to the DNR and to the Department of Natural Resources to oppose that sale, but they went ahead and did it before Dave Upthegrove took office in January, which we voted for. He is opposed to the legacy levy. So Dadler went to auction. It was minimum bid of $300,000, but Stinson Lumber bought it for $500,000. And the reason for all this is because we were told the rationale for cutting those trees was to support libraries and schools, and they continually said that to us. So my question is when the DNR is cutting our timber here in Clark County, are we actually seeing that funding for libraries?
Thank you for those questions. So the first question was about public safety levies, and for the city and the county, I think they're looking at November. They're gonna watch what happens with the library in August. That's what I hear. Timber sales, there is a portion of timber sale money that comes to libraries for our district. It's been a very, very small amount, but Timberland Library District to our north, the 5-county library district, a substantial part of their revenues were coming out of timber sale. So yes, it's true, money goes that way, but for us, either way, it's a very small percentage that we have been receiving. One thing I will bring up, because it's a different tax issue, and I know I'm out of time, but so I don't have time to get into this fully, but have you all heard of tax increment financing? Okay, so we have currently 3 tax increment financing areas in our district: the Port of Vancouver, the Port of Ridgefield, and the City of Ridgefield. Recently, the Port of Woodland was trying to form one, and that did not go through. Those 3 we do have. The impact for our library district is it's capturing an estimated $10.8 million over the next 25 years. And we in our district have counted an estimated 34 potential tax increment financing districts that can form. They're not yet, but as a library district in the state, we're one of the ones that have the most, because that law was new in 2021. And what it does is it allows those TIF areas to form a boundary, and every taxing district in that TIF area then, except for schools, is frozen at that taxable assessed value they're collecting for the next 25 years. And then the growth from that base up is what the TIF collects. And that's for obviously growth in those growth boundaries, infrastructure, et cetera. And after 25 years, we'll all be great and we'll all get our tax money back. But in that, in between, there is an impact to budgets, and we're concerned about that. There's no opt-in and opt-out, and there's no transparency to the voter. So on your tax bill, you can't tell where that money's going. You think you're paying the library, but actually part of that money in those areas is going to the TIF areas. So we've been talking about that with the county, with the state, with our fire districts who are also concerned about this. And many of you as voters had no idea what was happening either. And we all deserve to know where our tax dollars are going. And so this is an important, I think, issue that we have to pay attention to and see where it goes. Because we know that that could have great impact to our library district, but also to other junior taxing districts in the area. So if you want to know more about that, we could also always come back with some fire districts and talk about that. I really appreciate your time today. You and what you do is so important in our community. And I am so fortunate to be able to have spent some time with you this morning. And I am always available. If you have ideas, questions, concerns, things you think we should be doing, don't be shy. jgiltrop@fvrl.org. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jennifer. And yes, the tip, that's something, if you're not familiar with it, do become familiar with it. That's a pretty serious impact on a lot of areas. Okay, let's stand up for about 20, 30 seconds, and all of the present board members, if you would come up front, please. Up top. If you're not sure you're a present board member. Okay, let's get started. Okay, this is a fun part of an annual meeting where we get to recognize some very important people in our league who do the majority of the work. Okay, so I'll just go down the line. Ellie Hutton has been our vice president. She's our roster and membership chair and taking us through the new transformation and dues process. She's been very, very busy fixing problems. Sally Hale is the head of our communications team. What a team. How many communication team members are here? Excellent, excellent. The work that they do for our league is amazing. Marlene Niemeyer is our treasurer, and oh my goodness, they are in place. So thank you very much, Marlene. You've done a great job. Cindy Maltzberger, our secretary, she's also responsible for getting name tags for our new members, keeping the records of the league and sending out notes, and we greatly appreciate. Lynn Altenheim has been on the board a couple of years, and the wisdom and knowledge and guidance of the board members, and with all of them, starting with Lynn and Cynthia Gardner, Joe Waddell, Susan Fleming, Sarah Bennett, Janet Hedgepath. They think a lot more globally than I do. And so we'll be sitting in a meeting and I'll be talking about something and then someone brings up and I'm going, I never thought of that. So you are greatly appreciated because you enlarge the conversations, you enlarge the thinking. And our league is all the better for it. So thank you very much. Let's see. Joe is a beacon. Joe is a beacon. Your history with the league, and your quiet way of going, maybe you should think of it this way. So greatly appreciated, greatly appreciated all of you. Susan was on the state board. Cynthia is going to be our next treasurer. Sarah was our secretary, and Janet was on the state lobby team and also chair of our nominating committee. So we'll hear from her a little bit later. So a big round of applause for our board. Thank you. Next, John's going to bring up our year in review. Hopefully you had a chance to look at this when the links to the voter, or you went directly to the website. Brenda put this together, and it's the things that we did this last year. It was so amazing to go through the minutes and go through the voters and go through notes. You want to scroll through a couple pages. The design was amazing and really focused on, let's stop right there, focused on all the things that we did in the highlights. But you'll notice that there are a number of indications of volunteer hours. And you have heard me through the years crab about the volunteer hours. Well, this is one of the reasons that we record them. It's for us to realize how much work we have put into the league.
Is it,
Plus, it's recording for the state and for national. State and national apply for grants all the time. And the grantors want to know this information. And that's why we collect it for our own purposes. And so it will support the state and national in getting funds. Donors want to know what their dollars are going to be used for. Plus, for legal reasons, we're 501c3, we have to prove that a certain portion of our time is related to 501c3 efforts, which is primarily the voter services aspect and education. So I encourage you to go to the website, fill in your hours. It takes just a couple minutes. There's a number of different categories. So I would appreciate that. Any questions or comments about the year in review? All right, Cindy, Monster. And we still have 2 people on Zoom?
Yep.
The minutes from last year's annual meeting were presented online. And I would like to make a motion to approve those minutes. Okay, thank you.
All those in favor?
aye?
Aye.
All right, minutes are approved. Marlene.
Nancy. I'm very happy that my report and call for action follows the year in review, because it is really important to celebrate all the things that have been done. And no one really likes to talk about money, but this is about how we continue our work forward. So thankfully, we're not going to go through that whole chart up there, but it was online and available. And what it does demonstrate is the process that your budget committee goes through to take a look at historically how money has been spent and what we can project in the way of revenues and how we need to spend money in the upcoming years. So as Nancy mentioned, we do have 501c3 activities, which is through our education fund, but the league itself, this chapter's but corporate formation is what's called a 501c4. So the money coming in donated to this particular entity is not tax deductible, but we also have a tax deductible arm with the education fund. So in recent years, if we could go to the next page. In recent years, I'm sorry, one more page. And then there's a narrative. Or maybe not.
Huh.
One more.
Nope, that's it. That's the end of what I had.
Okay, I'm sorry. So then, not to worry, I will give the highlights. This is because there was also a report in your work, so I will just give you the highlights from that. So in the past, the league has funded most all of the activity out of the 501c4 monies. And so this year, because we have 501(c)(3), we're going to be looking to that portion of our budget, which is kind of like applying for grants out of our own accounts for some of the program activities. So you've heard a lot about changing how we collect dues, and that's because we have a national portal where that happens. And there were three important reasons why that was done. One of them was to make membership more approachable for more people. Because in the past, the chapter set its dues, and then the state and national organizations received portions of that. Now, our members can choose the dues they want to pay from $20 on up with the $75 recommendation. Well, it's been interesting. We've been seeing people who have been joining at a range of dues. However, our average is meeting what we projected for our budget, which we were assuming an average about $55, and that's based on our historical trends and what we've seen so far. And that money is going to be sufficient to cover what keeps the corporation operating, keeps the post office going, keeps the lights on, keeps our insurance paid, and so forth. And then the money for our various programs will come out of the education fund. So we have about $2,000 in operating expenses that will be covered by our dues and some donations. So we're not going to go into the detail here, but so what happens is that we have programs. Our program people have been doing a great job, and they have written basically very detailed applications on how they're going to be spending money this year to extend the activities of the league. So if there are no questions, I make a motion. I move approval of the fiscal year 2025-2026 budget as recommended by the board of directors.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Have a budget. Thank you, Marlene. Okay, there are a few other people here who should be recognized. We have dynamic committees that operate in this league and sustain us and give us great visibility. So if you are here, please stand. The candidate forums, Melanie Hanshaw.
She's online.
Melanie.
She's standing up.
Hi, I'm home with a head cold, so apologize. But thank you.
I don't see Edry. Edry Geiger is our election observers guru. So we owe great debt for her. Voter Services and Civics, Teresa Torres. Mary Austin Seymour takes care of our activities at WSU Vancouver and Clark College. She is currently in Japan. Tracy Riley Kelly is our historian. Stand up. I personally am chair of the Observer Corps. Our MELD rep, membership, engagement, and leadership development, is Susan Fleming. Yeah, we have to stand. Irene Finley, Irene here. There she is, redistricting. Sally Hale, and you don't have to stand, Sally Hale, communications. And Ellie Hutton, membership. So as you can see, it definitely takes a village to operate this league and continue the success that we have enjoyed, and very proud and humbled to be associated with all of you. Janet Hedgepath, if you would come forward. And Mimi, is Kathy Morton here? Okay, Mimi, you're part of the nominating committee, so if you will come forward, please. John,
Mimi and Kathy and I talked to many of you, and did some recruiting of next year's board. And we're proud to present the folks who have
No,
accepted.
this is not good. No.
A million
We'll
years
just
ago,
announce
when
it.
I was a Brownie leader, we used to have a little song called
Yeah, take it off. Take it off.
Make New Friends. Some are silver, but the others are gold. And that's what I feel like we're presenting with this board, in that we have folks who have been on the board, who know what's going on. There are kind of gold members, and then we have silver members who have stepped up and said, yeah, I will too. And so I think it's a well-rounded, great board, and I'm happy to present it. Although, as you will see, is that there was no one who said they would be president or vice president. So this board is going to be kind of piloting a new for Clark County. I think other counties have different boards. Oh. So I guess you won't see it, but I will tell it. Although, do you have anything you? No. So anyway, the folks we are going to nominate, I guess I'm nominating, for the board position will be, Secretary Teresa Torres, Treasurer Cynthia Gardner.
So they can see, you know.
Yeah, so they know who they're voting on. And then, do we have,
Board members.
oh, Lucy, okay. And then the new elected members will be Ellie Hutton for 2 years, this is for 2 years. Marlene Meyer and Tracy Riley Kelly. Now, I need to ask 3 times for any nominations from the floor for any of these positions.
So that would be president, vice president, and there's one open 2-year board position.
So open is
So-
president, vice president, and 1 2-year board position. For nomination.
Say that before you can nominate someone, you have to have their prior. Yes, you can self-nominate, you can stand up and say, me, I will do this. Okay, once again, this is second chance. Kind of like an auctioneer, going, gone. Okay, one more time, she says, okay, anyone else? What does a board member do? Well, I suppose on the main basic piece is they attend board member meetings, which is usually once a month. The elected position in itself, there are various functions around the board, and especially with this new board without the president and vice president, those functions will be picked up by various board members. So it may be something like setting up and organizing this meeting. It might be something like making sure that the different committees have reported in, or what's going on with them. What are some of the others? That's right, speakers, what these meetings will be, approving press releases. There will have to be somebody who will be the kind of front person at different meetings, at different times. So kind of all of the nuts and bolts of what the organization actually does. That kind of clear it up for you? Just a minute. Go ahead.
I'm gonna put my 2 bits in. Yeah, for me to my.
I did not have a clue when someone called me and asked me to be a board member. I'd never been a board member. I didn't know much about the league, and it has been a fabulous experience, and I highly recommend it. It's not over the top. You get to, they're very kind if things come into your life that you have to skip a meeting. And they bring you along, explain things. You find out about policies, you find out why we are what we are. And so if you're kind of hesitating, don't. Jump in. If it's not your thing, you got a year or two and it's fine. But it's been fantastic and interesting, and the people are really nice. Okay, and to your position, right? Okay, excellent, thank you. Fantastic. Well done, very brave. It's a 2-year term.
The list that went through. And there are already 6 2-year terms, and the bylaws say 6 2-year terms.
Yes, someone had withdrawn.
Oh, what, I must have slept reading off the list.
Oh, you didn't sleep through that. That was somebody else. Lynn Altheim
Oh,
was
okay.
needed to step back. So other questions? Anything else? We've got a full slate now. Yep. So we have Ellie Hutton, Marlene Niemeyer, Tracy Riley Kelly, and Stephanie Wagner. I don't remember Stephanie. And then also Teresa Torres for secretary and Cynthia Gardner for treasurer. We still have president and vice president. if anyone- Okay. So I move that we nominate, we select this slate of officers.
Do I hear a second? Second. All those in favor of this?
All those in favor of the slate? Aye.
Aye.
You two might want to stay up front. See, the next thing that we do is we nominate next year's nominating committee, or we elect next year's nominating committee. Are you interested?
Yes.
Janet? Okay. Typically, a nominating committee is 3 members of the league and 2 board members, and the board members are generally selected at the January board meeting. Kathy Morton also said that she would, so we have Janet Hedgepath, Mimi Milata, and Kathy Morton, who have agreed to be the nominating committee for 2026. Any questions? Okay, do I hear a motion to, so moved? Joe, second, Cynthia Gardner, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those
Aye.
opposed? Fantastic, thank you very much. Appreciate it. And let's see. Oh, yes. This is also in the voter and on the website and was indicated on the annual meeting rules. At this point, we re-adopt our current local league positions, League of Women Voters of Clark County positions. Okay. And so that's just something that we do every year to re-adopt them. Do I hear a motion from the floor to re-adopt the current LWVCC positions? Susan Fleming, is there a second? Mimi, I saw your hands first. Mimi Lotta, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Has anyone seen a red cell phone in the building anywhere? Okay.
Apologize, I didn't tell you this earlier. When I looked at the positions document this morning, I noticed that our transportation position wasn't included in the document. And so I just thought we should amend it to include the transportation.
That's a good point. The transportation position is on the website, but it's under the documents section. Oh, there it is. Okay, so we don't need to amend.
Can I ask big round applause to Eric Erickson, he's the executive director. The phone, honey, but I couldn't resist putting him on the spot. Thanks, Dick.
And Heather Erickson in the back, raise your hand. It is at the behest of Eric and Heather that we are allowed to use the building. And so we are very, very appreciative to CDM. Did we vote on the positions? Okay. Thank you. Okay. The adoption of program of work. This was voted on by or approved by the board, and now it comes before the membership at the annual meeting. And we voted to adopt the proposed tribal study update that's going to go before the state convention and state membership. But our league voted to approve that work. We also voted to approve the focus on redistricting and with a special focus on the local area for this year, dealing with the charter commission and possible amendments to the charter. So what we would be voting on is, do I hear a motion to approve the adoption of the work plan for 2025-2026, the tribal study update, and redistricting with an emphasis on local? So, is there a second? Ellie. Mimi made the motion, Ellie seconded. All those in favor?
Yeah.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Very much. Okay, Ellie, you'd like to talk a little bit about the money aspect. I don't know, maybe we'll have to go in the next room with this.
How far to request?
Am I okay?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll be putting my hands over my ears if it's squealing. Okay, I'll hold it closer. So on our agenda, the title that I've been given is Views Transformation Chapter Spot. We have a number of new members or renewing members in the room here today, who have used the new membership join and renew system, which is being processed through the National League. So LWVUS. Can you not hear me?
No, they turned it.
Oh,
Well, yeah, you.
hello? Can you hear me now? Okay, thank you. Anyway, the LWV portal is now the joining and renewing system that all members across the country use to join the league. As many of you remember and know, it used to be a process that went through local leagues, and then we were billed by the state and national leagues and made payments to them. Now all the money is collected at the national level, and then it is split immediately between the national, the state, and the local league. Our local league receives 20% of whatever dues amount you pay. Just from a few members who are at this meeting and we had brief conversations in the entryway. I am very aware that National is still tinkering with what the portal looks like for members when they log into it. I had a member tell me that they had gone in a while ago to look at renewing. Her renewal date is June 30th. And for some reason, what popped up for her was, if you renew now, you will be setting up a new account, even though she was using the same email address. So what I will recommend, some of you may be receiving emails from National. We are within, most members in our league have the June 30th renewal date expiration. So most of us should have received notification from National League at this point that our membership dues to renew are due at this time. They send out a message 60 days in advance. They send out a message 30 days in advance if you haven't renewed yet. So I'm encouraging everyone to renew. If you haven't received a notification and you want to renew, you can go to our website. On the main page, you will see the Join Renew button up there. And if you click on that, this is our membership joining page. And if you can scroll down, John, a little bit. What you will find here is information that explains what the new dues process is. As we said, as Marlene said before, $75 a year is the recommended amount. The minimum amount that anyone can pay to be a member of the league is $20 a year. And when you go into the portal, National has kind of got the perspective that a lot of us want to be really generous. And so you will see dues amount in there of the recommended 75, $150. I don't know if it's $250, $500, and then they will say $20 is the minimum. So you get to pick what you want to pay. Whatever you choose, whatever dollar amount you choose in there is going to be split 3 ways. National League receives 33%, State League receives 47% now, and our league receives 20%. 20% of $75 is about the same amount that we were holding on to in dues in previous years. So there is no additional income from us through this new system if you choose to pay the $75. We welcome you to pay anything. The National League is calling it pay as you can, is what their new philosophy is, to be able to encourage more members to join, encourage more of a diversity of membership types. What we also want to point out to you is on our on this page, we also talk about donations, and Marlene was speaking about that when she did her presentation on the budget. And so we recommend that if you do want to make a donation, you don't do it on the National Portal side, you do it through our system. And if you click on that blue Make a Donation button, what will appear is you get to choose between making a donation to our general fund or to our education fund. And they have different purposes, as Marlene was explaining. This allows us to hold within our system, in your account, records of your financial transactions. We no longer have any financial transactions for your dues that go through our league for us to be able to record. So we don't know what you pay in dues when you join, except for through the bookkeeping process. In any case, I am really hopeful that the National League portal will continue to be improved. There is a several-day lag right now of when someone joins through the portal, when I receive notification that we have a new member or a renewing member. There is a several-day, week-plus lag between when that data gets transferred into our Club Express system. So for new members, they can't look at our members-only website until they've now
their information has now been transferred into our website. For renewing members, I am really hopeful the National will get their connection corrected so that when all of us renew, we will show in Club Express what our new renewal date is, which should be June 30th, 2026, if you're a member of that club that was here for a while. So that then you don't lose access in Club Express. So basically what I'm trying to say is there's a lot of background work going on, but I am really here to assist all of you with having access to how to renew if you have any difficulties or questions, to support you with remaining to have access to our Club Express system. Brenda Lilge and the communications team have been doing a fabulous job with our Club Express system. It's a wonderful membership system that has a lot of other features surrounding it. So we are able to have a wonderful website. We're able to email through the system. We are able to have an events calendar. All of these are way beyond what the national portal offers at this time. So our Club Express website is the place to go to really know about our league. Any questions right now? Okay, well, thank you, and feel free to reach out to me. Membership. Membership. Thank you, Brenda. Can you go back a screen, John? Yeah, no, not that.
Oh, this one, contact us. So there.
Go backwards. Oh, contact, yeah, so scroll down, and this will be changing, but membership chair is membership@lwvclarkcounty.org. Email me there and I will, respond to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Ellie. She has done incredible work and spent countless hours since February 1 on all of the
Yeah,
dues.
that's the last slide though. Got to start.
Sally, I know I've mentioned you a number of times in regards to the communications team, but I may have missed you when we talked about the board because you were seated. Were you were okay, then thank you. Yeah, fuzzy brain here, fuzzy brain. Teresa, I know you wanted to have just a couple seconds to talk about signing up for events and then we will go into the convention.
I was just looking over at Brenda and thinking, thank you, Lord, that she joined the league. Because she's done so much stuff that's cool on the website, and one is you can sign up for all those tabling events this summer by going to the website. So give her another big hand. It was very well. I'm about to. So a tabling event, there's a number of things that happen around Clark County, and we have a table there, and it's a cool place to go and talk to people about the league, talk to them about voting. Each event has its own little thing to it. Never fear, we have a great guide to how to do tabling, thanks to Tracy. We have bins, Sharon Brown has everything there. For each event, we have someone who's in charge, so if you go to and I haven't looked at it in a while, so forgive me, Brenda. If you go to the event, you'll see who the person is in charge. They should put in there how many, volunteers they need for how long. It's pretty easy to do. We'll never send somebody brand new out there without, a seasoned tabling person. So just real quickly, we have the multicultural fair coming up May 31st. We have Juneteenth, June 14th. We have Pride in the Park. All these people who are in charge of these things. July 12th.
One volunteer other than myself.
And
So
please, yes, please sign up for that because that's an all-day event. Yeah.
really one person who's trying to organize really important and really helpful because we forget, we say, oh yeah, I said I would do that.
Yeah.
Signing up right now. Pardon?
Yay.
I'll do that right now. That's the option.
Yes, you don't have to remember all these dates, I'm just kind of plugging them into your mind. So there's also August 5th, National Night Out, one is at Fircrest Park, I'm in charge of that one. Judy Zeider, bless her heart, is gonna do the one in, Battleground. And, then we have one more. Battleground Pride, I knew, I was looking at Judy thinking, and August 16th. And then we also have something up at WSU, Mary Austin Seymour is in charge of that, and we're not sure yet on all of that, but look at the website, please sign up. It's a great way, if you're new, to dip your toe into the water, find out, meet other people. They're usually a lot of fun, so you had a question?
June 14th is also No King's Day.
Yes,
Do we know if the rally is at Esther Short?
I'm assuming not.
Oh,
So
sorry.
June 14th is called No King's Day, which is a rally against the current administration. And I'm not sure where that is going to be. I'll be in California, so I'm not thinking about it. June,
All of Esther.
yeah. Oh, it is. So also with Juneteenth. Okay, well, that should be interesting. Thank you, Teresa. We have a convention coming up here in Vancouver. It's a statewide convention. Deanne Finken is in charge of our local convention committee. She's also driving force on the statewide convention planning committee. Judy Stanton is on our local convention planning committee. And the army of volunteers, they're just gonna blow you away.
So what is one for everybody? I don't know, we have 50, we may have, I'm Deanne and this is Judy, for the Deanne and Judy show, yeah, excuse me, I've I'm getting over bronchitis, I am not contagious, but you know, sometimes the cure for that is worse than the disease, right? So, I'm a little loopy here. Yes, we have a convention coming, Stand Up for Democracy. It's our whole theme really this year. And Clark is hosting it. Everybody knows this, right? It's at the Heathman Lodge. Next slide, please. 3+ days. We actually start Thursday afternoon. But formally, the convention, plenary sessions and all start Friday at noon. And then go through Sunday morning. Learning, debate, fellowship, fun, and a lot of work too. Decision making, lots going on. The main order of business, I was corrected not long ago. I mean, I go to convention because of the camaraderie and connecting, but truly the main order of business is the adoption of program of work, what we're going to do as a state, and then subsequently local leagues for the year, election of officers and directors, adoption of budget, and bylaw amendments. But really, this is what I like is, you know, the workshops, the caucuses, plenary sessions, field trips, buffets, debates, happy hours, Q&A with our league, the United States League President, Diana Wynn, is coming in. And we have a number of really impressive keynote speakers. Again, as I said, Diana Wynn will be coming in Friday. I think, actually Ellie is a backup for picking her up at the airport. Friday night, we have the State Attorney General, Nick Brown, who is, joined with other state attorney generals to file lawsuits against the current administration on a number of issues. And he will be talking about threats to democracy. We have Susan Martin, who's president of the San Juan League, who is really a renowned national expert on immigration and did the lead on the immigration study. She is dynamic. I mean, she's professor emeritus at a number of universities, including Georgetown. I mean, she knows her stuff. And we're really excited, those of us who are on the local news team, to bring you, Kate Starbird, who co-founded the Center, for an Informed Public at the University of Washington. And her expertise is studying about rumor control and social media and mis and disinformation, and particularly how the extreme right has really been able to capture the magnitude of social media to spread its messages. And she's a powerhouse. She's also a former professional basketball player. So we tried to get her to come and do a one-on-one with people, but she's not working. But she has donated 2 tickets to the women's professional basketball team, 2 game tickets in Seattle, which we will be auctioning off as part of our gift baskets. As I mentioned, everybody thinks, okay, it really starts Friday afternoon because that's when the formal activities begin. But the fun really starts at 4 o'clock at the museum, where Tracy Riley Kelly is leading a women's history tour. You can only sign up if you're one of the lucky first 30. So go to, oh, that's one thing I forgot to put on there. How to, I'm gonna have to get here with with John to show you how to sign up. If you haven't registered, you can still register. No, it's on, I think it's on the form, isn't it? That I'm gonna get? Yes, that's it.
We go to the state website, very simple, LWVWA.org. On the front page is the convention, and it says learn more. Register, there are two buttons. So it's very simple. Learn more is where you can sign up for all the goodies. Register is where you actually register for the convention.
Thank you, Nancy. And let's see. What's really nice is I know many people go, oh, well, I don't want to give up 3 days, right? Judy, by the way, is handing out, again, this is a draft. This is a draft of workshops, caucuses, happy hours, Q&As, etc. This year we're making it available if you want to just come to one of the meals where there's a guest speaker. So you want to just hear Attorney General Nick Brown for dinner on Friday night. I think I have the price on there. I think it might be $50 for the dinner. So you don't have to sign up for all 3 days. You still can sign up for all 3 days of the convention. You don't have to be a delegate. You can just go. But you can go for individual meals. You can just come to hear the League US President Diana Wynn on Saturday night, or for $35, I think it is, for lunch, you could come and hear Susan Martin on Friday afternoon, or Kate Starbird on Saturday afternoon. If you want to come for a full day, all day on Friday, starting with, we have a private tour with Tracy Fortman, Park Superintendent of the port, the field trip that leaves the hotel at 7 a.m. We have drivers to take you and to bring you back, come back, and then we start with caucuses and workshops and the plenary session, etc., and lunch, and introduced, welcomed by the mayor, a full day, and that you could buy that 1 day pass. I'm sorry, my brain is not working. I think it's $75 for that day. Similarly, if you just wanted to come Saturday, that would be $100 because that also includes breakfast that morning. It's great. Okay. It's all on the sheet there, and this is a draft. Am I in the way? Okay. And as Nancy said, we're able to do this because of all the volunteers. I mean, we've had an immense turnout in terms of volunteers. I'm going to ask John, if you could go to the Clark League website, if you would.
I can try to do that, yes.
We have more than 120, no, as of Thursday, we had 124 in-person attendees planned. I think we have 10 online. And if you could go to, You gotta log in, right?
Oh, okay.
And then go to member actions, please. At the bottom. Volunteering. If you would like to volunteer, we still have some opportunities, but we've really had a great response. Bill Whipple's got his vehicle lined up. He's gonna drive people everywhere. Edry Geiger has, the registration desk all worked out. If she's contacting people who volunteered for that. The top item here. The convention, no, to the left where it says expand all under 8 results. Yeah, click there, please. That's where you can sign up. Irene, Finley and Lynn Osborne. Irene Finley is doing a balloon art. She's doing decorations. She's doing everything. And then Irene Finley's putting together goodie bags. We have timers. I think, Judy, what did you say if we needed any help still? It was, did she? Fiddly. Yes. Great. Okay, she needs a couple of bodies, but she's got big plans. We do perhaps need a few more drivers, perhaps on Saturday morning. Maybe a few more people helping with registration on Saturday. And 2 timers for the Sunday plenary sessions. If you have questions on this sheet that Judy handed around, you'll see my email and phone number and Judy's as well. I'm kind of doing the program related things. Judy is doing volunteers. Please call us or email us and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. Yes, oh, great.
Yeah, we are also trying to put together welcome bags for everybody who comes. We want to try to showcase Clark County and all of, we want to brag about how awesome we are to all these people who are coming from across the state. And so we are still accepting, it is by donation to fill these welcome bags. We've got plenty of pens. We don't need any more pens. But if you have any connections to local businesses, places that they're headquartered here, or nonprofits even, anybody that you think we should be bragging about, that other people might be interested in, we are trying to fill 150 welcome bags for everybody one bag for everybody who comes. So, I think, is there a way to just come talk to me after this and I'll get you my information. We are trying to collect items by the day after Memorial Day.
Yeah, right there.
I think it's like, May 27th or something like that? Yeah. Trying to have items by then so that we can fill the bags and bring them in time for the convention. So, thank you.
Thank you, Jesse. Nancy had pointed out, this is on the this is on the league state website where you can register. And again, if you could scroll up just a little bit above the other way, I'm sorry, down. Where it says register, click on that, would you please? Thanks. Again, this is how you can just register for a meal and a speaker. Keep scrolling. And I think it keeps scrolling.
That's the bottom.
Oh, yes, you can do the ticket. So if you just want Friday for the whole day, 75, Saturday, 100. You go back out to the other page, I think. And go to learn more. We're having a dine around on Thursday evening with hosts and hostesses. I get hosts at 6 different restaurants. We also have field trips. If you could click on the field trips there. We have something Thursday afternoon and Tracy just told me that she would be happy to do a separate herstory tour for league members in case that fills up. So we could have people from outside the area signing up for that. We have the tour of the fort with Tracy Portman Friday morning. I'm really excited about the field trip Saturday morning. It is, will be led by historian Mary Rose of Friends of Fort Vancouver, who will do a feminist artistic look of the lives and the societies along the Columbia River, beginning with the Indigenous women. Lillian Pitt, many of you know her artwork, and she will be introducing some of that. So I think it'll be a really a nice, and we can have 75 people sign up for that. I think I've talked enough, and the turnout for volunteers has been tremendous, and thank you very much.
Yeah, a big round of applause for Deanne.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Looking forward to convention. That will be very exciting. I want to say thank you to all of you. Thank you for the last few years. I have definitely grown and learned, and I appreciate all of you. I want to, my husband Dick, who has been very supportive. Definitely helps with schlepping things around here at CBN. We have one final piece of business, but I have the incoming board and the proposed appointed board members to the front.
I'm here virtually.
Melanie, did you wish to say something before we close on candidate forums?
No, I did want to say I'm here virtually as an appointed.
Okay, all right. So this is your new board, and you have met some of them. So I'll just recap. The secretary is Teresa Torres. Please raise your hand. The treasurer, Cynthia Gardner. Okay, the 2-year elected today, Stephanie Wagner. Ellie Hutton. Ellie, raise your hand. Marlene Niemeyer. Tracy Riley Kelly. Okay. Completing their second year of a 2-year term will be Sally Hale and Joe Weigel. Okay. So I need one of you to move to appoint your 1-year appointments. All of our 1 years.
Okay, I move to appoint for 1-year term, Kate, and I'm not going to try for your last name. Raise your hand, Kate. Amy Easton. Elizabeth Gallimore. Catherine Hobby, thank you. I know you as a different person.
We won't go there.
We won't go there. If anybody was there, yeah, never mind. Brenda Lynn and Melanie Hanshaw, who's online. Thank you.
Everyone except the 1-year vote. So you.
Okay. We need a second, Marlene. Okay. All those in favor? All those opposed? Okay, cool.
Unanimous.
Welcome to your new League of Women Voters of Clark County Board. All right. Lynn, you wanted. Thank you again for all the food. I am going to have some before I leave. Oh, and all those that are going to convention, if you're able to stay, we have a few people who really wanted to get together with those going to conventions just to talk about the logistics. So, and seemed like there was another group that wanted to stay afterwards, but yeah, delegates and convention attendees.
Oh, Sam.
We are very thankful to have had Nancy for the past 2 years. And I just can't say enough about her, but here are just a couple of highlights. She kept us moving with her energy and her encouragement. She's a nice person. It all happened in a very pleasant way. She grew our membership hugely. And that is something to be extremely proud of, which I am. She kept us aligned with the League of Women Voters, goals, principles, our nonpartisanship, which has been difficult, but she did an excellent job. She has a lot of courage. Remember her speech she gave at the Hands Off rally? That was excellent and very inspiring. Thank you for that. I wanted to mention your creativity. We now have a monthly coffees where we talk about whatever. We get together. We have a wonderful time. We get to know each other better. It's an excellent thing. Nancy started that. She came up with it, and she makes sure that it happens. She's a good person. She's nice to be around. We're so happy to have had her. She kept us going through some rather tough times. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
My goodness, I would certainly like to meet the person that you talked about. Oh, I can imagine. Thanks. Looks like this happened.
You're not going.
Is it, all just the new, all the new elected board people, or do you have? One and two? Yeah.
Board members, front and center.
You guys have to group together. Call people in the back, you know. Yeah, yeah. We're not gonna stand in a row, sorry. Years of doing this, I'm not gonna allow it. Okay, all right, ready? Ready? 1, 2, 3, smile. Thanks, everybody. That's why I will fall. And there's a big, and to be committed. Maybe drove and not into the library stuff. I have to bring it back. And I don't want to. Yeah. Okay.
Yes, it's everybody helps clean up, so.